Hey guys, what's going on? In this video, we're going to be checking out the Hasbro Marvel Legends Marvel's Warlock wave. This is Marvel's Sunfire. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and set your time machine, you would want to go back to 1970 as Sunfire debuted in X-Men number 64. Let's take the measurements for Sunfire. Sunfire stands, if you technically count the tips of his mask, he stands close to 6.5 inches tall. To come included with Sunfire, he comes with the torso for Warlock. A fairly slender-framed character. Warlock, I guess, is really going to fill up to be a much taller figure than he's going to be wider. A very interesting-looking design, and I'm really looking forward to how he's going to all come together. Kind of very much a read like a C-3PO sort of design character. Some nice gold there. Look, you can tell that the body is basically just all black plastic, and then they've coated it in a gold, like a gold metallic paint. But again, it looks good, it looks interesting. I'm obviously going to stick it out and see how everything kind of comes together and until we get ourselves the fully finished Marvel's Warlock. So in the meantime, we only really got a torso, not really much to be said for that. Well, let's just put that down right there. So Sunfire debuted in X-Men number 64 in 1970, kind of earlier to when I started collecting X-Men comics. I think I kind of started getting into, well, I was starting collecting comics in mid-public school, so I want to say like, and yeah, here comes age reference. Probably about 85, 86, I really started getting into comics, and when I picked up the few X-Men comics, Sunfire might have made some appearances in those issues because I was getting some older issues as well. He's an interesting, unique design character. I always thought he kind of looked like an owl. The figure here represented as Sunfire, I think, is a good representation of how Sunfire looked in the comics. He does come with a couple of accessories. He comes with these little fiery attachments you can add to his wrists, or more so to his fists. And I'm certain that it's actually the same fire attachments that came with Iron Fist in a previous wave. I think it was the Dormammu wave, which actually at the time, oh boy, at the time when I reviewed the Iron Fist, I mentioned that the fire was for Dormammu, which actually really was not the case. It was for Iron Fist. But you can see that it does come here with the Marvel's Sunfire as attachment you can add to his hands. And I do like how they transition the flames from being a more almost translucent yellow to an orange to a red. And it really looks good. And it equally so, it fits well on his hands. The hands seem to hold on to them pretty good for something that really is only friction forced. I mean, you're basically putting them onto his hand, and they're not going to go anywhere. Let's go ahead and take those off. The general color palette for this particular guy is actually something I would deem more like a ketchup red. It's not quite red. It's not quite orange. It's kind of like something in between. He does have some nice accent points to it, but primarily there's not really much in the way of an additional sculpt to this defaulted body, other than if you really count the belt, which they actually got away with using because it's actually a separate piece. You can see it just sits over top of his existing waist. But again, the face is very unique, is probably the best way to describe it. It looks like a pair of scissors. He kind of looks like Cutman from Mega Man mixed with an owl. That's the best way I can describe it. He's got some nice gold on the figure itself, but it almost gets lost because it's on the backdrop of this darker shade of red. But you can see he's got some fire paint decos on his forearm, on his feet, more importantly on his calf area, and again around that face area. The only other color which you can probably make out is this very stark white, which I'm very happy to report looks very clean. I don't see any real paint defects. I see like a little blob right there, but relatively the paint has stayed nice and clean. As a little side note though, I don't know why they put this number here as such a predominant color. Could they not have simply just used it like a darker red or something like that? Because it does look like it's a paint defect, but actually no, it's the number sequence on the figure itself. He makes use of a smaller frame, which I think fits perfectly for a character such as Sunfire here. So I think actually the body build I have no issues with whatsoever. It's a good choice for a figure mold when it comes to a character such as Sunfire here. Articulation on this guy is about what you would expect. His head rotates all the way around. He's also got that hinge up and down on the neck. Because he is using the same mold also as the figures such as Iron Fist, he does also have that shoulder, you know, deltoid kind of crunch here, where you can move these shoulders back or forward. As a little side note too, they seem to fix the issue, and I don't say fix the issue, but they seem to fix the problem that I had with this particular mold, in the fact that he's had such a very narrow, sickly looking waist transition into the thigh. It's still there, but somehow by bringing down the belt, it seems to hide it a little bit better, so I don't notice it as much. Again, he has the rotation in the bicep. He's got that double hinge on the elbow, a rotation and hinge in the hand. All common, familiar stuff if you've been collecting Marvel Legends. You know, he will have that. An upper torso crunch, a nice clickety-click going on there, a waist swivel. And then he's got the forward and back motion on the legs, a swivel on the top portion cut of the thigh, double hinge on the knee, a swivel on the boot, and a forward and back motion on the leg, and ankle pivot fans. You got your ankle pivot there as well. Again, not a bad looking figure in all honesty. He's a little obscure in the sense that the design of him is always not one of my personal popular favorites. He looks a bit of a strange amalgamation of characters, again, like Cutman, Owlman, if there was like a giant owl. The design is unique, but I have to say that I'm actually impressed that Hasbro, through all their waves that we've been looking at figure-wise, keep impressing me in the fact that they go back to character designs where it's like, yeah, I remember that. You know, I didn't follow religiously Sunfire specifically in the X-Men comics, but I certainly do remember this look. And to get this in a plastic figure, I think is pretty cool. Not one of my personal favorite X-Men, but I think it's kind of neat, though, that we would get this particular figure now as a Marvel Legends. So for that reason, I'm happy with the figure. He does make use of really very familiar aspects, such as the same body build. They haven't really done all that much to it, but really if you start incorporating things like the fire, the sculpting on the belt kind of helps to break that up, and he definitely will, I will admit, he has one of the more unique head sculpts. Today we were checking out the Marvel Legends, this was the Warlock wave, which I'm sure you can probably guess right away that we're going to be doing the entire wave as we build this guy and put this guy all together. But we were first having a look at Sunfire, just really due to the fact that he does come with the torso. And you know me, I like to, in all the videos, I like to just put the limbs on the figure until we have the finally finished figure. And that's the reason why we started with Sunfire here. If you guys haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, hit that little subscribe button down below. A lot of also viewers say, you know, can you do Marvel Legends reviews? We've never seen Marvel Legends reviews. Actually, I do a whole ton of Marvel Legends figure reviews. You probably just don't see them because maybe I upload a video like this, and then right after that, I might upload 3 or 4 videos on top of it. And you know how it goes. You put one video on, you put other videos on top of it, and maybe a video like this guy might get then lost in the mix. So what I would probably suggest is if there's a specific figure series that you'd like to see, check the channel, because you probably will find a playlist. So for example, like the Marvel Legends playlist, I've done a whole ton of different waves. The Juggernaut waves, the Space Venom waves, everything. They're all there. So if there's a specific, you know, series that you want to see, like Marvel Legends, I would definitely say check out that playlist as well. You probably will be surprised with how many Marvel Legends videos I've actually done on this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do, and of course stay tuned because we're going to be continuing until this guy gets finished. We're not just going to start and stop with one figure piece. We're going to keep going until good old Warlock is finished here. As always, guys, thanks for watching, as you always do. See you next time.